Let's combine a few things. First, the idea of an inhabited area that expands from the inside outwards, which I got from Calvino's Invisible Cities. Second, the idea of a patrilineal and mytholocal society, which is not something that exists on this planet, but I want to make it happen. And third, in one of the Earthsea books, a character speculates that maybe mages are people who had a void inside them that then filled up with magical power. This idea is raised but never followed up upon, so I will steal it for myself. The world is shaped a bit like a morning glory, but the flat portion is larger. It's 50 kilometers from the edge to the abyss in the center, and the abyss is 50 meters across, and the petal portion is constantly growing from the center outwards at the rate of 10 meters per year. It's a living world, so the flower foundation is covered by soil, and since the petal underneath is always shifting and growing, cracks form in the soil above, and the newly opened ravines get slowly filled up by landslides. There are no trees in this world, but there are some sturdy perennial grasses, such as bamboo, so people build the foundations of their houses as bamboo rafts, and then raise a lightweight structure on top, so if their home gets threatened by a crack, it can be moved or disassembled and rebuilt somewhere else. Households mark the boundaries of their territory with huts of bones that stand on a pole. When somebody dies, they are buried next to the hut, and their family holds a big feast right there at the grave, reasserting their claim to that boundary point loud enough for all the neighbors to hear, and a year later they dig up the skeleton and move it to the hut of bones. When the ground cracks next to a bone hut, it can be moved aside without disturbing the dead, and if a family is feeling ambitious, they can use this as a chance to encroach on their neighbors. And in this world, women are born with a void in their souls. The shape, size, and nature of the void is something that is specific to individual families, and it gets passed down the generations, but only through the male line. The void does exist within men on some level, but instead of expressing itself, it gets passed on to their children, to be expressed by their daughters and exist in their sons unexpressed, to then get passed on to their children. There is a rope bridge that spans the abyss, and no one is allowed to cross it, no one except the priests and girls who are coming of age. When a girl crosses the bridge, the void in her soul gets filled up with the magic that the abyss constantly exhales, giving her the ability to use magical power, the same type of power as possessed by her paternal aunt, grandaunts, and all the other women with whom she shares paternal ancestry. So when her void is filled up and she is ready to study how to use her magic, she goes to live with the women of her paternal line and to learn from them. And if she has a brother, his daughters will come to learn from her when their void is filled up, and if those nieces have brothers, then the daughters of those brothers will also one day come to learn from her. There's this whole trope that features a young person arriving in a wizarding school to learn how to do magic, a young woman leaving her mother's household and arriving in the house of her aunts to learn how to do magic is a very similar sort of thing, which I find a little funny. And as young women move out to join their aunts, young men move out to live with their wives, as there's no reason for the men to stay with their blood relatives, while their wives have to carry on teaching and learning magic. What their magic is, I don't really know, but there is one more thing to note. The world is surrounded by a sea, and everything that falls into the abyss eventually washes up on the shore.